This Monday morning, the stage is set for the winter session of Parliament that will kick off today. This session of the Parliament is likely to be action-packed. The government is ready to introduce the Farm Laws Repeal Bill. The opposition, meanwhile, is set to corner the government by demanding a guarantee on MSP. The Congress has also been demanding a condolence resolution in the House for farmers who lost their lives during the year-long protest against the 3 central farm reforms and a compensation being given to them. Opposition parties will also demand a discussion on the Pegasus snooping row, price rise and also unemployment and COVID-19, especially with the new variant that's been issued as a cause of concern. Now, the month-long session will see 26 bills being listed for introduction in Parliament during the winter session. The nearly month-long session will end finally on December 23rd.
मैं आज देशवासियों से क्षमा मांगते हुए सच्चे मन से और पवित्र हृदय से कहना चाहता हूं कि शायद हमारी तपस्या में ही कोई कमी रही होगी, जिसके कारण दिए के प्रकाश जैसा सत्य कुछ किसान भाइयों को हम समझा नहीं पाए। आज मैं आपको, पूरे देश को ये बताने आया हूं कि हमने 3 कृषि कानूनों को वापस लेने का, रिपील करने का निर्णय लिया है।
And ahead of the winter session of Parliament, which officially begins at 11 this morning, Leader of Opposition in the Raj Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, has called for a meeting of all opposition parties at 10 this morning. The meeting has been called to discuss issues to be raised in Parliament during the session. Rahul Gandhi is also expected to attend this meeting. The Congress has already issued a whip for Lok Sabha when the farm bills will be tabled in the lower house. The TMC, interestingly, is not going to be attending the opposition parties' meeting that's been called by the Congress. TMC's Derek O'Brien issued a statement on opposition unity and said that Congress is neither the electoral ally nor are they running the government with them. So the TMC has made it very clear that they feel no need to attend the opposition meet.
वो तृणमूल का निजी का बात है, वो इसका जवाब ममता ने स्पेशली दे सकते, अभिषेक दे सकते, इसलिए मेरे कोई इस विषय टिप्पणी ठीक नहीं। कोई आइडियोलॉजी एक नहीं है, वो सोच अलग है, सब पावर के लिए ही चलता है। वो कौन बड़ा हो सकते, मैं पीएम बनेगा, इसी मांग लेकर ही लड़ाई चलता है। कोई नीति नियत नहीं है, इसलिए ये तो होना ही।
तो ये टीएमसी का अपना मत है। टीएमसी ने तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ बैठ के सरकार भी बनाई है। ममता बनर्जी बीजेपी के साथ केंद्र में मंत्री भी रही हुई है। मैं इसके बारे में कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता, वो उनका अपना रिव्यू और वो अपने निर्णय स्वयं लेती है।
After Prime Minister made that announcement of repealing farm laws, they will have to bring the bill before the Parliament, and the parties, our party and other parties will demand there should be a proper bill repealing these 3 agri laws. And what is this MSP committee and what government's real intention, nobody knows. It all will be known on the floor of the House.
So with the winter session beginning today, the opposition is looking to several issues to corner the government. So a number of them are the issue of minimum support price, inflation, the fuel price rise and also COVID. They're all on the opposition's list as raised during the all-party meeting. But cracks in the opposition are clearly starting to show. The TMC, as I mentioned, is going to be skipping the opposition meet today.
Winter storm in Parliament, set to make the latest session a tumultuous affair. The tone and tenor set with the all-party meet, which saw attendance from 31 parties. It saw a big reach out by the Modi government to the opposition seeking smooth running of the House and passage of key bills. But with crucial state polls coming, the opposition is unlikely to oblige.
बिना डिसरप्शन सदन चले, सदन का कार्यवाही चले, यही हमने रिक्वेस्ट अपोजिशन से किया है। सभी अपोजिशन हमको आश्वस्त भी किया है कि हम पूरा कोऑपरेट करेंगे और इस बार और ज़्यादा प्रोडक्टिव सदन होगा सेशन होगा, ऐसे सरकार का उम्मीद है।
The government aims to push through 26 bills, including one of repeal of farm laws and another on crypto norms. But the opposition will aim to take credit for repeal of farm laws and mount pressure to bring law for MSP. Congress is seeking condolence resolution in the House, along with compensation for farmers who lost their lives during the year-long protests. The opposition also made an issue of the Prime Minister skipping the all-party meet.
सभी पार्टियों ने ये डिमांड किया, खास करके जो किसानों का मुद्दा है, एमएसपी और इलेक्ट्रिकल बिल, इसके बारे में सरकार तुरंत एक्शन लेना चाहिए और एमएसपी के बारे में एक कानून बनाना चाहिए। हम ये अपेक्षा कर रहे थे कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर आएंगे और कुछ नई बातें उन्हें बताएंगे।
But the opposition itself seems to be a divided house. TMC decided to skip opposition unity meet called by the Congress on Monday.
No, TMC is not participating tomorrow because Trinamool Congress itself is trying to emerge as one of the most important opposition party, for which we have a National Working Committee meeting on 29th at 3 p.m. in Kolkata.
In Lok Sabha, we have been recognized as the largest opposition party, and in the Rajya Sabha, we have been recognized as the opposition party. So, leader of the opposition party belongs to the Congress party. It does not depend upon the whims and fancy of the TMC party.
The 3-hour-long meeting also saw Sanjay Singh of the Aam Aadmi Party walk out, stating the government wasn't really listening.
यहाँ पर ये हालत है कि किसी भी सदस्य को बोलने नहीं देते, किसी को अपनी बात रखने नहीं देते। मैं किसानों का मुद्दा उठा रहा था, मैंने साफ तौर पे कहा कि भाई एमएसपी की गारंटी का कानून इसी सत्र में लेके आइए। आप लोग जिन्ना जिन्ना करते घूम रहे हैं, किसान गन्ना गन्ना कर रहा है, आप कुछ सुनने को मानने को तैयार नहीं है।
The Modi government wants to start the winter session of Parliament on the right note by setting things right by repealing the farm bills. But even the opposition wants to milk the issue, saying the government was under pressure. While both are eyeing UP as well as Punjab polls, some of the key states going to assembly elections in a couple of months from now, the fact remains, as far as the government is concerned, they may have comfortable numbers. Meanwhile, the opposition remains a divided house. However, fireworks are expected in the next few days. With camera person Anil Jaiswal, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Delhi for India Today.
This Monday morning, let's get you the latest updates from poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. Protests were held against Priyanka Gandhi in Lucknow. These were protesters from Rajasthan who staged a dharna outside Priyanka's Lucknow residence, demanding unemployment allowances promised by the Congress in 2018 before the Rajasthan Assembly polls.
प्रियंका गांधी जी से गुजारिश करते हैं कि हम महिलाएं हैं और महिलाओं की न्याय प्रियंका जी के हाथ में है।
Unfulfilled political promises and cry for employment in Rajasthan, causing embarrassment for Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Job seekers from Rajasthan under Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government landed up at the house of Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi's Lucknow home. Seeking the jobs and unemployment allowances promised by Congress in 2018, travelling close to 900 kilometers.
हमारी मांग वहाँ सुनाई नहीं करी, इसलिए हम लखनऊ आए।
गहलोत सरकार ने हमसे वार्ता भी नहीं की है और ना ही वो हमसे कोई बात को लेकर समझौता किया है।
Protesters claim the Gehlot government has not delivered on 13 poll promises like probe into paper leaks of teachers' recruitment exam and sub-inspector recruitment exam. They seek hiring of teachers, nurses in Rajasthan hospitals and 75 job quota for locals.
ये वो महिलाएं और शिक्षक अभ्यर्थी हैं, चाहे नर्सिंग के हों, सभी तरीके के वो अभ्यर्थी हैं या जिन्होंने भी किसी परीक्षा के लिए
दिया हुआ है लेकिन रोजगार नहीं मिल रहा है। ऐसे में राजस्थान सरकार से इनकी मांग है, जब वहां पर सुनवाई नहीं हुई है, जिसके बाद ये उत्तर प्रदेश की राजधानी लखनऊ पहुंचे और इनका मानना है कि कांग्रेस की महासचिव प्रियंका गांधी वाड्रा से मिलेंगे और अपनी मांग को रखेंगे।
Hundreds of protesters from Rajasthan had first stage protest outside Congress office in Lucknow on Saturday before shifting to Priyanka's house, organizing makeshift unemployment market at the site as a mark of protest. With Ashish Srivastav in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
And here's the story everyone's talking about this week, the Omicron COVID variant. Amid this looming threat, the government has issued now fresh guidelines for international travelers. All international travelers will have to carry a negative RT-PCR report before boarding a flight to India. Those traveling from high-risk countries will have to undergo second RT-PCR test on arrival in India. They will also have to quarantine for 7 days, after which they will be tested again. Now, sample testing will be done for travelers coming from countries excluded from the flagged countries. Now, in all the cases, if any of these travelers test positive, genome sequencing would be conducted to ensure the COVID variant, to find out if it's the Omicron variant or some other. The list of high-risk countries include all European nations, including the United Kingdom. And also besides that, you've got South Africa, Brazil, Bangladesh, Israel and China. Many of these nations have registered cases of the highly dangerous Omicron variant. The government has also issued an advisory to states to be on alert and to prepare an action plan in case of any contingency. Many states like Maharashtra and Karnataka have ramped up testing in view of the COVID threat. So with the Omicron threat now looming large, the centre has issued an advisory to different states to ready an action plan. Maharashtra, Karnataka have ramped up testing. Here's more on the story.
India is ramping up COVID fight. Just as daily cases in India dip to less than 10,000 a day, a brand new threat stalks the world. Omicron, a new, more infectious COVID variant with possible vaccine dodging capabilities. Amid looming threat, the centre issued an advisory to states on action plan. The letter from Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan says states must monitor hotspots, putting international flyers from at-risk nations to screening and 14-day mandatory quarantine. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wrote to Prime Minister Modi calling for a ban on flights from countries affected by the new variant.
दिल्ली के तमाम अस्पतालों और तमाम सार्वजनिक स्थलों पर कोविड प्रोटोकॉल को पूरी तरह से पालन करने का सख्त आदेश जो है वो दिया गया है। दिल्ली के राज्यपाल अनिल बैजल की तरफ से अहम बैठक की गई, जिसमें दिल्ली के मुख्य सचिव, पुलिस आयुक्त और तमाम वरिष्ठ अधिकारी भी शामिल हुए और इसके साथ साथ ये फैसला लिया गया कि तमाम जो सार्वजनिक स्थल हैं और बाजार हैं उनमें कोविड नियमों का सख्ती से पालन किया जाए।
In Maharashtra, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai announced mandatory testing for select international passengers and strict penalty for violators.
जो प्रवासी आ रहे उनको, जो दक्षिण अफ्रीका हो या दूसरे देश से आते कंट्री से, तो उनको जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग का चेक करना पड़ेगा। उसके बाद जो हमारे देश में आते तो उनको क्वारंटाइन करके वो सब चेकिंग होने के बाद ही छोड़ा जाएगा।
After a brief scare over 2 people testing positive on arrival in Bengaluru, Karnataka has scaled up testing too.
All these tests we have sent to our labs, genomic sequencing labs. We are awaiting those results in another 5 to 6 days. Then I think we'll be able to tell you what kind of a strain is this. But we are definitely concerned with the new Omicron variant.
Chief Minister of Bihar and Madhya Pradesh too chaired meetings to discuss the threat of the new variant.
Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan today called a meeting at CM residence on new COVID variant. Officers informed the Chief Minister that as of now, there is not a single case of COVID new Omicron variant in Madhya Pradesh. But as a precaution, state government has taken few decisions today in this meeting held by the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Will the new variant bring back fresh lockdown and derail the road to recovery? Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, schools in the national capital will reopen for all classes today, and this comes amid the rising pollution levels and now a new threat of the Omicron variant. Schools and colleges in Delhi were shut owing to the increased air pollution in Delhi NCR. On November 15, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announced that all schools and colleges will be closed for physical classes. Now, while the growing threat over the new Omicron variant in the national capital also looms large, you had Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal instructing the Chief Secretary, the Commissioner of Police and all other senior authorities to stay on alert and ensure full preparedness to combat any sort of crisis in view of the risks involved. The Delhi Lieutenant Governor will also chair a key COVID review meet with DDMA officials today. And it's on the same day, of course, that schools in Delhi are opening. The key decision to reopen schools comes at a time when Delhiites continue to breathe toxic air. Welcome back. Heavy rains continue to lash several parts of Tamil Nadu, including Chennai and adjoining districts. Incessant rains have battered the state and caused widespread damage to crops, buildings and roads. It's also led to a lot of waterlogging and flooding in several parts. We get you the latest updates.
Waterlogging on roads, flooded streets, citizens wading in knee-deep waters. Tamil Nadu yet again suffers rain pain. Continuous rainfall over the last 3 days has brought parts of Tamil Nadu on its knees. Traffic was at snail's pace with vehicles struggling in flooded arterial roads. T Nagar, the shopping hotspot of Chennai, was one of the worst affected areas in the capital city.
The unfortunate part is that after several days of rainfall, this is the present condition of the roads. There are potholes in several locations and unfortunately most of them are not yet covered. Public are finding it very difficult these roads, and unfortunate part is that even though the road is blocked for public not to go, they are doing so. This is what the authorities requested them not to do so to avoid untoward accidents or incidents.
The situation is likely to worsen as IMD has issued a red alert for 12 districts across the state. Chennai, Chengalpettu, Puducherry, Kanyakumari and Tirunelveli districts are bracing for more rain. Very heavy rainfall accompanied with thunderstorms is also predicted across the coastal regions of Puducherry and isolated places in Thoothukudi and Ramanathapuram in Tamil Nadu. Educational institutions were shut for at least 3 days amidst fear of a 2015-like deluge being on the cards again. The state government fears the incessant rainfall will complicate its flood management plans.
The November figures of rain is very near touching 1000 mm in November. So it has happened only 4 times in his recorded history from 1908 onwards, 2005, 2015. So if there is one more spell of rain today or tonight, we will cross the figure of 2015 rains.
There is little respite for Chennai from the rain misery which has become an annual affair.
On 30th, another low pressure system is expected around Andaman and its movements will be determined in the coming days. With Vivian, Pramod Madhav, for India.